Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome our 2021 Masters runner-up, Will Zalatoris. Congratulations, Will.
Thank you. Thank you.
Will finished the tournament at 9 under par following rounds of 70, 69, 670, 68, 71, and 70. Will, you had an excellent showing in your first Masters appearance.
Thank you.
Could you tell us how it felt to be in contention today and your experience through the week?
Yeah, absolute dream. To be in this situation, I've been dreaming about it for 20 years. So I thought I did a really good job this week of just enjoying the moment, but not letting it get to me. I think I'd kind of let everything soak in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then, back to work on Thursday. So it was an absolute treat, and obviously to come up one short and be disappointed is motivating, but obviously very exciting.
Yes, please.
Well, right in front of you, when does, I guess, you said you let things soak in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but there's a lot more to soak in now, obviously. When has that process already started, or how do you sort of envision that playing out?
Yeah, it hasn't sunk in. I think if anything, it's just the fact that I'm one shot short. It's just kind of sitting right in front of me, thinking through where I could have found that one or two shots. But that's just golf. I mean, every single week, you always think about those one or two. But, like I said, the fact I put myself in contention and was able to handle it and be in the final group and my third major in my entire career is obviously really exciting.
John?
Will, do you feel like your days of under the radar are over now? I mean, what do you think is going to come about with all this?
I have no idea. But it was a lot of fun, obviously, hearing a lot of the patrons over especially the last couple of days, saying my name, cheering me on every single hole, between every single shot. Was really special. That's, when you think of playing in this tournament, you think of the shots, but, hearing the patrons rooting for you just because, they know that I'm the underdog was really cool.
Was that your first standing ovation that they gave you at 18?
Absolutely. Yeah, and that was, I just took as many mental images in my mind because that's, I've watched this tournament for as long as I can remember, and the fact that I was a part of it is pretty special, and the fact that I contended is even cooler.
Bentley?
Well, I heard a story from maybe last summer or summer of 2019. You were driving back from a Korn Ferry Tour event when Matt Wolff won, in his third or fourth start since turning pro. When you look back on your journey, would you trade anything, and are you glad that you had to cut your teeth a little bit and get stronger, get better to ultimately get to this point?
Yeah, absolutely. This game is very fickle, and it will, if you're not mentally tough, it'll get to you. And, going through a full year and change of Monday qualifiers for the Korn Ferry and being unsuccessful, and finally getting a couple that I qualified for and worked my way into having status on the Korn Ferry Tour, and seeing guys on my Walker Cup team being successful, it wasn't frustrating. It was actually motivating and exciting because I knew that I could do what they were doing. And even if I wasn't playing at their level, I knew that I was capable of doing what they were doing. And it was a pretty rough first year as a pro. And, like I've mentioned, I guess it was a little under 2 years ago, sitting down with my coaches and my agent and talking about playing mini tour events. And not even 2 years later, frustrated that I was one shot short of winning the Masters. It's a pretty cool feeling.
If I may ask a follow-up, you have a lot of great people around you now, from Josh to Troy to your parents to Tony, but kind of the second father figure in your life was DP. Mm-hmm. Can you just talk about what he meant to you and basically getting your golf career launched off the ground?
Yeah, I mean, I was 11 years old, and he sat me down in his office, and he said, I know you love playing the game, but if you want to be good at it, you're going to have to work at it. And as an 11-year-old, hearing somebody besides your parents basically, say, hey, you need to get to work, and if you want to be good, you've got to go earn it. And our lessons, we'd schedule an hour, and they were never short. Every lesson was 2 hours minimum. And he has always been a father figure on and off the golf course. And, he's taught me so much. And, was basically obviously my parents will always say that they believed in me, but he was the first one that really pushed me to get to this level. And, he's just such an incredible man, and pretty thankful for him.
Daniel.
I always hear guys talk about how long the wait is for like a 2 o'clock tee time on the weekend at a major. How did you sleep last night, and how was this morning? What did you do to kill the time?
I slept great. I slept in a little bit. I'm a student of the game, so I hear a lot of these guys talk about when they have a later tee time, they like to stay up. I didn't get back. We were eating dinner at about 9:45 last night because of the late finish. So I needed to sleep in anyways to get some rest. It's a long week, and even right now I'm still kind of running on adrenaline. So it'll hit me tomorrow. And like I said, it's just I've wanted to be in this position my entire life, and so I don't need to shy away from it now. I've made it this far, so why now be timid? And I thought I did a really good job of enjoying the moment, but not letting it get to me too.
And how aware were you of everything that was happening? Because you were, I think, one back after 2 holes when you were on the 3rd hole. Were you really aware of where you stood all day?
Yeah, I looked at every leaderboard all the way in. I've seen enough coverage of this tournament. When they put the timestamps of leaderboards where at 4:15 Eastern, there's a 5-shot lead, and then at 4:30 it turns to 3, and then at 5 o'clock there's 3 guys tied for the lead. So I knew I needed to stay in it. I kind of hit a little bit of a lull on 12, 13, and 14 when the lead got to 6. I thought 5 was basically the most I could get away on this golf course. There's obviously a lot of birdie holes on the back, but there's a lot of chances to get in trouble. And, I needed, 13 this week. I played at an even par, and that's really the difference.
Well, what would you say you learned about yourself this week?
I think the fact that I'm frustrated that I finished second in my 3rd major kind of says something. And the fact that I didn't let any moment really get to me was really exciting. And obviously, my 2 majors as a pro, I've finished 6th and runner-up. I know if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm going to have a really good chance in the future.
And then on Sunday, you're in contention heading into Amen Corner. How does that feel?
It's pretty cool. If you look at the cameras every single day when I cross the bridge on 12, I look back because my dad told me, he's played here twice, and he just said, look back and enjoy it because, it's a view that you don't really get. And, the fact that you're doing this in the Masters, that's kind of your point to reflect on how cool it is to be here.
David.
I will. Congratulations on a great week.
Thank you.
You told us earlier in the week that you had joked about, if you were stupid enough to believe you could play in the Masters, you were stupid enough to believe you could win it. Looking back now after the performance, is there anything about the way you reacted during the week that surprised you in a positive way? Because obviously it's been a positive experience.
Yeah, I think being in the final group on Saturday, I thought I was more nervous in the morning waiting around and than I was really on the first tee. I did a really good job this weekend, in particular of, saving par yesterday on 1, kind of settling in, and today starting off birdie and, being off to the races. Those first couple holes are basically where, you could play them in 1 or 2, or play them in 1 over and you feel like you're behind the 8 ball, and, you have that stretch of 4 through 7 coming. That's the toughest stretch on the golf course by far. And, the day can get away from you pretty quickly. But the fact that, I got off to nice starts this weekend, I thought really showed, how well I was handling myself.
There's 2 more questions. Alan?
Since you mentioned that you're a student of the game and of the tournament, I was curious what you make of the trend we've been seeing the last decade or so of first-time players really making a strong run at the top of the leaderboard. What do you attribute that to? What's fueling that these days?
I think it's the Masters. Everybody watches. Everybody remembers. I mean, I was laughing with my parents last night, talking about how I could give you a memory of every single hole. And, you know, I mentioned that, you know, I've seen guys for 15 years when that pin's on the back left on 10 of guys missing that putt low. Examples like that. But I think, you know, obviously it has a lot to do with Tiger, where a lot of kids getting into the game, a lot of kids watching his success, especially here, and the fact that he won in 97, he won in 2019. I mean, and he's our trendsetter for the game. And I think that's part of the reason why so many kids come out early is, you know, we saw him be fearless at a young age, and we come out and play fearless. And then on top of that, we were interested in watching, you know, the tournament year in, year out. And, you know, I think that's something that the Masters does so incredibly well, is you can watch every single shot of every single player. And, you know, even this morning when I'm sitting around, I'm watching guys play the golf course just to, you know, see how holes are playing. But I think a lot of that has to do with Tiger, especially.
Paul?
Will, during the telecast, Jim Nantz was talking about a lesson you had with Ken Venturi when I think he said you were 6 years old. And Venturi, of course, had his own history here as well. Can you describe that lesson or your encounter with him?
Yeah, you know, I was too young to really fully appreciate who he was. My dad was a member of California Golf Club for about 20 years, and that was kind of his stomping grounds. And there's a massive shrine in the men's grill there of all of his success. And I was hitting balls on the range, and he saw me just rapid fire, nonstop, hitting bucket after bucket of golf balls. And he went over and taught me how to hold a golf club, and he said, "Don't ever change it." And I've had an overlap grip ever since that lesson.
Well, you've certainly come a long way, Will, and we congratulate you again on just a terrific week.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.